Hell yeah. Welcome back to another fantastic movie night Autopsy. I'm Chad.
I'm Sam.
I'm Grace.
I'm Asher.
And we have gotten together again to celebrate film and friendship. Film and friendship. It's going to be a good one, y'all. This one's exciting. It's a classic. Get together, have a few drinks, eat some food, watch a fantastic movie, and our number one rule is at least one person in the group hasn't seen the movie. And who was it who hadn't seen this particular film?
I don't think I'd seen it either. This was my first time.
The Kim
when we
Kellys,
first watched
Grace
it.
and Asher.
Yep, the Kim Kellys.
All right. And
So this was actually my favorite John Carpenter movie.
I love this movie.
For such a long time. Pretty much until we watched They Live.
yeah, I dug They Live's my new favorite John Carpenter movie, but
Yeah.
when I still in my brain, when I think of John Carpenter, I think of specifically this movie and none of his other movies. So guys, I'm just going to get into it. Has everyone calmed down from Escape from New York?
Woo!
And that's general consensus.
Yeah.
This one was a good one. This is one of the first early ones we
All
watched
right,
as a group, right?
checking the woo box.
Yeah, check the woo box, getting it out of the way. Woo box. We still got to knock in a sorry to bother you reference at some point.
We'll get there.
Just keep an eye out
we
for
have
that.
Plenty of time.
Let it happen naturally. But Escape from New York is super. Oh God, it's one of those movies. First time I saw it when I was younger, it changed the way I looked at a movie.
I watched it whenever I was younger and just like I enjoyed it, but I had no idea what I was looking at. Like watching it
Yeah, right.
watching it as an adult.
What's going on?
It is just like I want to be terrified for the child version of me that watched this movie, but I know that that's ridiculous because I remember being a kid and watching the movie and loving it and having no idea what's
Right.
going on whenever the Duke of New York is like threatening the president with a gun with a
number one.
suitcase dangling from his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different from Pokemon and whatever we watched as kids.
Yeah.
It makes you an adult.
Yeah, it's one of those movies you watch as a kid that, in retrospect, you're like, maybe people shouldn't have been letting me watch this, but I'm a better person because I did.
Maybe
you know?
my parents should have spent a little bit more money on a better babysitter to pay attention to what I
Yeah,
was
it's like
doing.
when Fight Club was on TV and you're like, yeah, I'm probably way too young for this movie, but it's probably better for me that I've seen it going forward into the future. And man, if we said this in the They Live episode, if we'd seen They Live when I was a kid,
Oh,
oh
man.
man.
Yeah, that's like one of those kinds of movies, and this is kind of sort of one of those movies, but it's like the '80s action movie version of one of those kind of movies. Because this was 1981, it was still like at the dawn of like the true like the modern idea of what the action hero is. I mean like still to this day like that's a zeitgeist that was in the process of forming. And I mean, it's not as prominent as it was in the 90s with like the Schwarzeneggers, like in Terminator 2, but we still have like our Jason Stathams and our Dwayne The Rock Johnsons. And like they all kind of came as a result of movies like this one, like 1981 and Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken, I Thought You Were Dead.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
God.
Plissken.
This was kind of one of the Godfathers, you know?
Yeah.
First of all, we should talk about our protagonist, played by the inimitable Kurt Russell.
Oh, Asher learned a word this week.
Yeah.
He's gonna use it every day.
Kurt at his most rustled.
That is the most true of this. Is like the most Kurt Russell movie
Yep.
ever. And before this, he was just in like kids movies, and like I think he played Elvis once.
Yeah, he was doing like Disney movies, right?
Yeah.
Like Strongest Man in the World, or
his
like
dad
stuff like
was an
that.
actor, and he became an actor. Because I don't know if because of it, but he was a kid actor. So that's weird to think Kurt Russell was a kid actor, and then he became Snake Plissken.
I mean, yeah, seriously, because he kind of just owns the role of Snake Plissken.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh God, solid. But it basically, so it's one of those movies where they get away with a bunch of things you don't see anymore, which is long credit sequence of just white letters over background.
Yeah, props on the movie for
Yeah.
that because it just starts with that,
And
like
it's-
just music and white
bold,
levers
yeah.
over, and then not only that, but once the credits are done, the first thing you see that's not credits is like I forget what it says, but it's like it's like a narrative point is what it's doing.
Yeah, it gives you the backstory.
It's
of
the
everything.
prisoners trying to escape,
And then you
see
hear,
them.
but then like the first thing you hear is somebody reading exactly what's on screen in front of you.
Just in case,
Yeah.
just in case it's in the '80s, they probably don't have time to read.
And Chad, you told me earlier
Oh, it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis
Does
is the narration.
The
for
voice
that,
of
for
the
that, for that
narrator,
part.
and later when you're in the government compound, you hear those announcements like, "Next bus leaving for the prison is in 2 hours.
So you know what that
may now
means.
have time to wish to terminate your life on the premises."
Oh yeah,
So
and
that's her
be
too.
cremated.
Cremated. Yeah.
So you know what that means. They had her for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we thank God for it.
Thank God for that. So it's basically the desolate future of 1997, a common thread that you see a lot in 80s movies that like to do dystopian type things.
Oh yeah, I like to think that that while this is happening on the East Coast, Predator 2 is happening on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They both take place in the dystopian future of 1997.
Well, I mean, if you've looked at that world, it makes sense. And, and just accurate to the core. Absolutely.
I'm just saying, I'd buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people did that. And that was one of those things where it's like they wanted the future, but the not too distant future. Like before X-Men, and they could say in the not too distant future.
Right. And this was made in 81.
Yeah.
Like this was while like there was like kind of a crime wave going on.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was
crime
at
was
its
on the
peak.
rise,
It was the
for
peak
sure.
of the. It was getting to be one of the peaks of a kind of like some of the crack. Fever back then. So there was, especially in cities, especially in big cities, the crime was
lot of gang
spiking.
violence.
Yeah,
and
it
they thought
was-
it was going to continue. It actually went down in the 90s.
It was the era that got us that they gave us a story that was New Jack City, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Came out of like what was going on here, which influenced not only this movie but like The Running Man is one of those.
Oh yeah.
Even Total Recall to a degree, I'd say, like RoboCop.
RoboCop.
you
I
know?
was going to say, was RoboCop set in 97 too?
Even
It might have been.
Yeah.
Even though the Terminator itself is in the present day, it still goes with that grungy reality that in the future everything is going to get worse. And Mad Max, even though it goes the kind of like nuclear apocalypse route, it's the same thing. Like things are going to get worse. I'm talking
Right.
about the original Mad Maxes
Yeah.
that come out. Things are going to get worse from the 80s to the 90s in
Right.
a very
It's-
drastic way.
It's classic dystopian that we used to only see in like books. And around the 70s is when we're starting to get kind of into, especially after World War II. Like we used to get a lot of people just like, oh yeah, well it's just going to get worse and society's going to crumble. That's going to happen before things get better. If they get better, probably not.
And according to this movie in 1981, they thought that crime was going to rise 400% in 1988.
Yeah.
And that's whenever like America was going to turn into like full martial law type, like Mad Max but in America kind of territory.
I see that movie.
And that's what leads to I think everybody would.
Yeah.
And then that's what leads to Manhattan being a mass security prison.
Yeah, they shut down all the bridges. They built a giant wall around it. Just Manhattan.
Manhattan Island.
Manhattan
And
Island.
not like Brooklyn.
No, Brooklyn and
yeah.
Queens is fine.
Yeah, that's
That's
all
weird because you see this shot at some point. You're like, oh, people still living in Brooklyn. I understand the rent's probably cheap at this point, but
Well,
you
now
have to
they
go
get-
through the prison to get out of there.
Can't you see though?
Like-
That's what those people have been waiting for. Now they can look down on Manhattan.
Finally, once again, rent is cheap in Brooklyn. But yeah, so that's what happens. And then we jump to this 1997, and it does say that thing of like 1997 now, like in big letters. It says now.
Yeah, they clearly didn't see the Backstreet Boys
No.
coming.
Anyway.
Maybe that's where they got it.
Anyway, so it's like a random night. Their base is on Liberty Island. You get this really cool shot of a helicopter around the Statue of Liberty. They actually shot at Statue of Liberty. And oh, that's right. Just to make sure you don't get the point, they show two people trying to escape across the river. And a helicopter comes and tells them that you have 10 seconds to turn around or we'll blow you up. And I think they use the words blow them up because the people don't turn around after 10 seconds. And a helicopter shoots a rocket and blows them out of the water.
It gives them a warning shot first too.
Yeah,
it gives a
just-
warning rocket down, and then it's
A warning
just blows them
rocket.
up.
Just
A warning rocket.
A warning rocket.
a warning rocket.
You know how you get a warning rocket before they actually blow your ass off the face of the earth?
Oh yeah, it's typical police protocol.
Oh yeah, the warning
Fire
rocket.
off a warning rocket.
You know,
Yeah.
two
Just-
ships
just-
passing in international waters. You just give off a warning rocket.
You do a little bit of collateral damage before you do anything serious.
Seriously.
Anything that you can't take back.
So they get blown up, and that shows you how harsh
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
on people trying to get out of the city. And by the way, one of the big things that I think is so cool about Isle of Manhattan being shut down is there's no guards in the city at all. It's just the wall.
There's no power either.
The only people, that's
Not
they
really.
show that skyline, and I was like, the only lights are on the ground level, like fires from the streets.
Yeah.
There are no lights on in any of the office buildings. All those giant buildings in downtown Manhattan are just black.
It's an
know?
80s movie, so they still have the Trade Center there, prominent.
He
And,
lands on the Trade
and he
Center.
lands on the Trade Center later in the movie, but it's just still like those were the tallest buildings.
Yeah.
So they have that dark silhouette go up. What was it? 113,
But
114
before he
stories?
lands
it
on
was-
the Trade Center,
He has to
the
get there.
commander-in-chief on Air Force One has an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
It's a major catalyst of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have you don't really know what's going on at first. You just see someone kind of spouting revolutionary propaganda
It's
into the
People's Liberation
Yeah,
Front
power
of
to the
America.
people.
power to
Yeah.
the people kind of stuff into like the captain's microphone. He's
Abby
communicating
Hoffman.
with people.
With a gun.
Saying like this is going to be a terrible blow. We're going to like take back the revolution, yada. But at the beginning of the movie, you don't know what's going on. You
Yeah.
just
No.
see this and you're like, oh.
Well,
what
they
the
have a
heck?
code name for the.
You're just like, what's going on here? Is like half the people in the movie going to turn out to be aliens or something?
Yeah. Well, the thing is when the plane reaches this restrictive airspace, the plane has a code name, so they don't figure out it's Air Force One until it's almost too late. And then they establish radio contact with the People's Liberation Front of America.
Something
is
like
that. Is that the not the Americans People's Liberations Front, People's Liberations Front of America?
not to be
They split
confused.
off. But they have taken Air Force One, and Donald Pleasance is our British president. Apparently, we had a British one in 1997.
Well, he just covered up the accent.
Yeah.
You know,
So they can't break it. They can't.
he was
break,
portraying an American.
Yeah.
It's not, don't read too much into it.
First of all, before you say they can't break into the cockpit, I just want to point out that when you watch the scene of the guy trying to break into the cockpit, it is the most half-assed. You can clearly tell the actor is just phoning it in. He's just kind of moving the rifle against the door, like, huh.
Well, that guy wasn't. I don't know if he was a professional because of who it was.
Well, I do have to say, just like on that note, like the extras in this movie did not go the extra mile. They did not.
Yeah.
They did not.
Another
Checking off that box?
Checking off that box.
Ding,
No.
ding.
Fun fact, which are never fun, but sometimes facts. That was Gerald Ford's son trying to bust down the door to the cockpit of Air Force One.
Gerald
President
Ford?
Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford.
So why?
Hi, I'm Jerry. Do you like nachos? Yeah. It was, yeah. So they got him for some reason, some damn reason. And the point is, the president has to get out the plane. He's got these briefcase handcuffed to his hand.
He's got something really important in that briefcase, and he handcuffs it to his hand the second that he realizes the plane's going down.
Yeah, and the terrorists are aiming the plane for the prison of Manhattan.
Yeah, because all of Manhattan's a prison.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's significance in the building that he crashes into, but they're watching it happen. It crashes straight into a building and just like plummets to like the
Yep.
third floor or something like that.
Everyone on that plane dies.
Yep.
Except the president, who's in a pod.
Yeah. Like
But
this,
of course,
like Easter egg.
before he goes into the pod, he says, "May God save me and watch over you all." That's gonna help. Thanks for your sentiment, bud.
But they're all dead.
You're in an
Yep,
Easter
they're all
egg
dead.
of safety. I don't really
Easter egg of safety.
need your help.
We see the Easter egg several times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
Please call it what it is—a pod device.
So the president goes down. The people, the United States police force that runs the prison at Liberty Island, all hop on a bunch of choppers and go into New York,
Oh yeah.
which they don't do. So
No,
there's
very
like 2 or
rare.
3 choppers, and there's our head warden, played by Lee Van Cleef, Western
Lee
star.
Van Cleef.
Lee Van Cleef from Good, Bad, the Ugly. He was the bad.
And this is where you meet Grace's favorite character in the movie. Because they land and they're looking and you hear some guy going, ha 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 ha, off in the distance.
Oh, the weird guy?
Oh, the crazy
Yeah.
guy.
the crazy hair?
Crazy Billy Idol hair.
Yeah. That was really creepy.
Oh man, which guy was he?
He was the guy. He was the I don't know.
He's basically like the Duke's right-hand man.
Was he Remy? Was he that guy?
the crazy guy.
I can't remember.
Well,
He
we're just
was
gonna.
a guy who used a whole case of product in his hair.
Oh
like
yeah,
every
no,
day,
he
that guy.
definitely did have all that going on.
And he did the like thing a lot.
He walks.
Like,
So he walks
you
up to
go,
the warden. And I think they figure out right away that that's the president that crashed because I think the seal's on the pod, right?
Yeah,
Right.
you even pointed that out. They're like, oh yeah, they
Just
put the
label it.
presidential seal on the escape pod.
Just in case, everyone
Great
makes
thinking.
Yeah,
Yep.
just so everyone knows whose it is and you won't take it.
Here I am, Waldo. You found me.
But the dude walks up and he's just like, if you shoot me, he dies. If you're not in the air in 30 seconds, he dies. If you do this, he dies. If you do that,
If you
he
come
dies.
back in again, he
If you
dies.
come back in again, he dies.
It's like,
Oh.
hey man, are you gonna be vague and cryptic about all this shit, or are you just gonna tell us what's going on?
But is that when he also
Big and
shows the
cryptic.
fingers?
Yeah, he cuts out his finger, and he cuts out the president's finger, and they show it to him, and it's a finger with a ring for the president of the United States, which apparently they have those. I guess whatever, but he's
mean-
like, we have the president. Here's his finger to prove it. I mean, do they have those?
I think
In
they
this-
only give those out whenever the president wins the Super Bowl.
Oh, so not that often.
It's like
Yeah,
every quarter century.
Okay.
But it's a really rough time in 1997, so who knows?
But anyhow, so they get out of there because he realizes this
Yeah.
guy means business. He tries to talk turkey with him. He's like, "Hey, what do you want? Do you want money? What's the deal? What do you do?" And the guy just
Also,
starts
what's
doing
your
the
opinion
countdown.
on turkeys?
Thanksgiving is in like
Like-
2 days. That's pretty funny.
Like seriously.
Yeah, we're recording this around Thanksgiving. Turkey's on the brain.
So, but he just does the countdown. He's like, if you're not gone in 30 seconds, he'll die. And when he starts
29,
like, "Hey, what do you want?" He's
28,
like, 20, 19, 18 seconds. And so they get out of there.
Oh, you're a jerk.
Yeah. So they fly off, and that's
what
it.
a meanie.
And they're like,
He's a
"What do we
big
do? We
old
gotta."
meanie.
And they're like, "What do we do? We gotta get this guy over to the place for the thing at some point because plot." Do they say why
The movie has to move forward.
the movie has to move
The
forward? But
show must go on.
do they say why they have to get him besides the fact that he's the
Because the
president?
show must go on.
Okay, fine. Good enough.
So he's got his briefcase and everything and his
Yeah.
whole outfit, and they're marching forward with plot,
Mm-hmm.
and then introducing Snake Plissken.
Snake Plissken. I thought he was dead.
Everybody did. Apparently, literally everybody in this movie has heard of Snake Plissken and thought he was dead.
You know what's weird too is his first shot of him just getting off like the Greyhound bus. They just show him like a normal dude, and you're like, okay, it's not. You thought like the intro of Snake Plissken would be like badass,
But he
it's really
has
it's
an eye patch.
He does look badass.
Well, he's one of the first,
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not like there was an established trope already.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, it's not some like Raiders like revealed shot where like he turns around and steps out of the shadow. It's just like, I'm Snake Plissken.
No, he gets off of a Greyhound bus and he has a fucking job to go do.
Yeah, that's true. He is a dude on the clock, both literally and figuratively, in this movie.
Oh yeah,
they
very
also-
literally.
It's also kind of glossed over the fact that Snake Plissken is an ex-war hero. Well, they do really hammer in the fact he's an ex-military because that explains a lot of his skills that he has.
He flew over Leningrad.
Yeah, Leningrad.
Leningrad. That's
Leningrad.
a blast from the past.
You know how the anyhow. So
You know how
So-
the bit? No,
Yeah,
no
he's
bit.
got-
Okay.
nope,
He's
we're
got-
not doing that.
He's got some sweet bow staff skills.
It's good. But they don't really kind of go into the fact that he had a lot of accolades from the military, but then all of a sudden he became a criminal.
Yeah, that's what
And
he
it
gets
kind
there.
of implies that it's because he was jaded by being not in the military, but being like he's seen so much of the world and stuff like that he kind of went rogue and is doing his own thing. And now
Well, I think that there's a universe where like Snake Plissken goes left and is Snake Plissken, or he goes right and is Rambo. And I think that we're just watching the universe where he is Snake Plissken, as opposed to the universe where he's Rambo.
It's the active versus like the passive.
Yes.
Okay.
could he have been? Is there a third path where he might have been like what was his name? Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
possibly, but that's like honestly, I'd say if that's going to be a Snake Plissken, that's a Snake Plissken like in 30 years.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, for sure,
Like
for sure. You're right.
post-
You're right.
Post escape from L.A., Snake Plissken ends up going down like the Delaware River or something because
It's starting a cult.
because
starting a cult of death.
because America is just like
Yeah.
it's just ascended into hell, and now he's holed up in the depths of the Delaware, and he's just fucking
Yeah,
ruling shit
just like up in the jungle with his
and
people.
reading poetry.
Yeah,
and ruling a cult of death.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
watching
but
boar
it-
get slaughtered.
But in this movie,
Apparently eating cheeseburgers. I don't know.
but in this movie, he's Snake
he was
Plissken.
sweating a lot.
it's hot in the jungle.
But in this
And-
movie, we're talking about Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Wow,
we're talking
that
about
was-
Snake Plissken.
Thought he
Anyway.
was dead.
I thought he was dead, but
so the
he's
warden-
not, and he just got off a Greyhound.
The warden brings over the Greyhound to but he's just
bad
like,
at this.
I'm gonna give a little bit of the backstory of your story to you right before he sends you into this thing because this is actually really important. We don't have time for this, but they do it anyway. They tell you who Snake is, and they let him know we got to go rescue the president of the United States of America from the prison that is New York City. And Snake is like, what has it got to do with me? And he's just like, I'll give you full pardon. You can go back to doing whatever. Full pardon for every damn thing you did. I'm ready to kick your ass out the world, war hero. That's a badass line.
Yeah.
Lee Van Cleef says it to him, but he's like, go rescue the president. And he's just like, full pardon. He's like, I don't care.
Plissken says, I need to think about it. And he's like, no, you need to tell me right now or
No.
I'm throwing you in jail. And he's like, I'm thinking about it.
takes his time and whispers a lot. Yeah, so they do it. And then they there's like that rundown scene of, all right, you're going to fly in on this glider. Here's your gun. It's this thing. You're going to land on the World Trade Center, take an elevator down to the 50th floor, walk the rest of the way. You have a timer. For you have a tracker to find the president. He's got a thing on him that tracks it. Hit this button when we need to pick up where you are to know that you're still alive. And here's a whole bunch of bullets. Any questions? And then they're like, we got to give you an inoculation shot. And this is the crazy thing. This is the insane thing that really, let's say, motivates Snake to kind of be all that he can be.
Motivate
This
me.
is also the Mad Max factor of the.
Yeah. So the doctor puts these like two like trigger gun things to like inject something into his,
Yep.
both sides of his neck,
Right in his neck.
right in his neck.
Into his arteries.
And the doctor's like, tell him, because the doctor has conviction. And
Have
Lee
you
Van-
ever played Fallout? You know what a slave collar is? Well, imagine a slave collar inside of your neck.
Yeah. So basically, this guy's just like, all right, so there's these little capsules, and when that timer's up on your wrist, they'll dissolve. And when they dissolve, there's these little electrodes that will pop your arteries just big enough for you to bleed out.
Yeah, it's just like a
So
pin.
you-
It's just the size of a pinhead, but
Size
it's
of-
enough.
It's enough to make you bleed out on 2 parts of your neck. So, yeah, you better get over to Manhattan.
And also, you have 24 hours, but also the 24 hours has already started, and you're not going to get there for like another 3.
Yeah.
So
You get there around hour 20.
Yeah.
good luck with that.
But then he gets in, then they do this like glider sequence because he flew a glider over Leningrad, right?
Leningrad.
Over Leningrad. They send this glider, and it's a pretty cool shot. It's like this,
It's only a model.
it's all, but like these like 3D imagery of like inside the capsule of like cameras giving a diagram of all the buildings around them because you can't see. You just have to kind of hope.
Yeah, you
you're
get
doing
like
it-
the down view.
You get like the down view and the side view, and you kind of have to. I guess you got to get like,
like it's the 80s idea of what graphics would look like in 1997.
yes, a lot of green.
Looks like a Vectrex.
Yeah,
You ever
yes.
seen one of those? This looks like a Vectrex graphics. You know.
And he lands on the World Trade Center, and how he lands is he shoots like a grappling hook out the back of that sucker, and there's a rope attached, and it stops him, but it stops him at the edge.
Yeah, it's like an anchor,
It's like an anchor,
like a plane anchor.
but when he lands,
planker.
a planker. Oh, you guys. Good night, everybody.
No, this guy. No, this guy gets it.
Yeah. So I mean, all gliders should come equipped with a
A
planker.
planker.
Saves lives, Chad.
So because of the way the glider landed on the World Trade Center,
Plankers and pleat pelts. They save lives.
why not throw in a nice plumbus? So he lands on top of the World Trade Center, and the way he lands is such a way he's hanging off the edge. So when he gets on the radio, it's just like, Snake, you land all right? He goes, yeah, but takeoff's bullshit. I can't take off. Oh, you better find a way out, Plissken. It's just like, hey, so this plan's already screwed up. He's just like, figure it out.
Screw
Figure
you
it out.
even
So
more.
Plisken's plan involving the planker is already. I'm sorry.
I will give you one more shot to pull that off because I want to hear what the last one was.
No, there is no last one. It's
Oh,
just,
how
I got
dare
nothing.
you? Okay. So yeah, that's what happens, and Snake gets to the ground, and now he is in New York City. with the craziest firepower. He only has 2 guns, but one is a Mac-10 with a scope and a silencer that's the size of his arm, so it looks like a rifle-type gun.
And his inventory carry weight is like a good 180, and he's only carrying about like 40 right now. So
Yeah.
he has room for so much more guns and ammo. Plus, if you can find some health along the way, that's going to help him out a lot.
It's going to help him out a lot. But the problem is they're very scarce in this. This is a very high level area of the map. So he's going to have to look very hard to find that stuff. And he does. He starts on his search presently.
It's true. And given how big the map is, it's kind of disappointing how little things he's actually able to interact with.
I was actually surprised he didn't fast travel more. Like, why didn't he just pause and then select another point on the New York map and just go there?
That would have made a
That's what I
lot
would've
more
done.
sense. And then you wouldn't have had to deal with exposition the cab driver.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So we just saved him a bunch of time right there. So much for Kurt Russell.
So much
Snake
for
Plissken.
Snake
Oh my
Plissken.
God, stop. I put up with that for what felt like an eternity.
So he ends up going into an abandoned building where he ends up like the first group that he encounters, like they dial up to 11 right away. The first group he encounters
dude,
are
like, right away.
cannibals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes
Like right
to-
away with the cannibals. Already with the cannibals.
He goes into a coffee shop, meets a woman. She's like, "Well, I'm only here because I got stuck here." Wait, no, we skipped something.
I'm
Backtrack.
only here because I'm married to the director.
Actually, that woman in that scene was Kurt Russell's first wife.
Oh, we're not to her yet.
No, not
then.
to her yet, though.
Whoa.
But,
okay.
yeah. But no, we skipped the Broadway scene. How the hell do we skip
the
that?
people.
He's looking for people. He's looking for the thing.
Hey, this movie covers a lot of bases. There's a lot to talk about.
But he goes and he tracks him to a Broadway theater where there's people doing just like show tunes that like they wrote.
Yeah,
And
that's
people
right.
watching it.
It's the Manhattan mass prison version of theater.
Yeah, because I mean it's Manhattan. You still got to have theater. You got
Well,
theaters.
yeah. I mean, like there was an audience. There were people there to see it.
Well, I like to point out that even when they portrayed it in this movie, that even when society had completely crumbled and it was just a bunch of criminals living without the rule of law, without the support of society, they're completely on their own. They're completely on their own. They still pursued the arts. They still were like, there are people
there was
here
still a culture.
that want to put on a musical, and there are people here that would want to see that. And even though they're living in a life that
Yeah.
from day to day they might die, like any day they might meet their end or they might run out of food or something, they're still gonna go and like watch that play.
There was still a need for culture.
Yeah, and that's where he meets Cabby.
Yep. That's the first. Is that the first when Cabby runs into him? Is that the first?
Yeah,
Snake
Snake Plissken.
Plissken.
Thought you were dead.
That's the first one.
Yep, from Cabby.
Yeah.
Once he lands
a
in
cab
New York.
driver named Exposition.
Yeah. Played by Ernest Borgnine, who's having fun.
Oh yeah, he's having
That
a
dude's
blast.
having a blast. I'm glad he's in that movie.
Can you imagine Snake Plissken in my cab? I've been driving a cab for 30 years.
You don't want
I
to get
thought
stuck
you were
around here,
dead.
Snake.
Yep.
Yeah, so he breaks away from Cabby because he can't trust him at first because he's Snake Plissken. Snake Plissken trusts nobody.
You shouldn't.
So he takes off down the street and he goes into like a coffee shop, and that's where he like meets that lady who's just like, I'm just stuck here. And is that the crazy scene that we're talking about with the cannibals?
With the cannibals?
Yeah, so like there's like a noise.
The cannibal animals?
and,
Oh.
and like yeah,
I
like,
remember
there's
we
a
were in the
guy-
theater and Snake Plissken goes downstairs and Cabby's like, I don't know if you want to do that.
oh, that's
He
yeah,
goes
that's
down.
where he finds
And he goes down the rabbit hole and
He finds the president's tracker down there, but it's not on the president.
yeah. This like bum has it. And
And
he
he-
goes, I'm the president. I know I'm the president. The second I put this thing on my wrist, I found out, you know what? I was the president.
Yeah.
That guy's
Hey.
awesome.
That's a nice knife. Those are nice boots.
By the way, he found that guy who was just getting punched in the face repeatedly by some other guy. Like he walked up behind him and he was just punching some guy, and then
Hey, you let him live his life. If he's into that, who
Yeah.
are you to judge?
If that guy wants to get punched every day in New York City, let him do it.
That's totally fine. But I just wanted to
How
point
New
that
York?
out.
Am I right, guys?
so he pieces out of the theater and then he goes around the corner and then he sees this weird singular man out on the street and he's got like a crowbar or something and he's tapping the sewer grates.
Yeah, he's like,
And this isn't
Oh,
the
yeah.
same guy, right? This isn't. Turns out Romero is the guy that you were thinking of, the crazy hair guy. It's not that guy.
No, it's like some guy in a trench coat. He's like less David Bowie.
Yeah, he's like tapping this.
Movie-ish.
he's more like Uncle Finster from Addams Family. He's like bald and got like weird teeth, but he's just banging on shit.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And he gets the cannibals out.
Yeah, he's like taps on all the sewer grates. And this is where the movie starts to feel more like The Warriors, because there is like kind of a theme with certain groups that all kind of look similar.
Oh yeah, this movie has like factions.
Yeah, yeah. Like everyone's dividing their groups. These people start coming out of the woodwork, both literally and no, just literally.
Just literally.
Just literally. Just the
literally
one
coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. And Snake takes off and hides, and he hides in a chock full of nuts coffee shop.
And he finds the second person who recognizes him.
The first
the lady.
lady he walks into on that island.
First lady. Not like the first lady.
Not
of
like the
country,
first
you
lady,
know what I
but,
mean. It's the first lady.
female
they
character
see.
he
President's
runs
wife's
into.
in the coffee shop.
This movie only has the president. It doesn't have the first lady. But there is a chock full of nuts, and there's a whole thing that goes on in there, and Snake Plissken has to shoot his way out, which he does.
Yeah.
After he sees the lady terrifyingly drawn into the
She-
floor.
She got
Oh,
got.
yeah, oh, yeah,
She got got.
totally
got
alien
got.
style.
She got got.
Yeah, there was
hard.
no saving her. Like I mean, like going into the movie, at least like nowadays, like having not seen it in a while and then sitting down to watch it, going into the movie, it's just like, what happens with her? Oh, yep, that's right.
Oh, but the crazies reminded me of the zombies from Walking Dead.
You think that like that he's gonna be able to save her, but then nope, they kill her, and the ones who he didn't kill probably ate her because he didn't kill them all.
Yeah, it's like terrifying. She's just standing there. That floor opens up and they grab her, and
Pull her
there's
down.
so many of them, or they're so frantic that for a few seconds after her being underneath the ground, there's still arms flailing above ground,
Yep,
trying like crazy to get at anything.
it's horrifying.
It is, God, you forget it's people.
It's Mad Max, but in America.
Yeah.
It's
Good
horrifying.
movie, yeah.
So Plissken takes off, he busts a window, and he does an epic run through the streets of New York, and these people chase him.
Keep
Oh
up
yeah,
with her.
like Tom Cruise, eat your heart out.
Yeah. And they are persistent. They're like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid persistent. They are always on his ass. He's running, and the only person he's saved by Cabby.
It's
Cabby's
like,
the one who
the
pulls up and
bandit
saves him.
chasing Smokey. Like they're just they're on it.
No, well, that's what I'm saying.
And Cabby's totally chill. He's like, all right.
He's like, you don't want to get caught in this neighborhood after dark, Snake. It's dangerous. While he's lighting a Molotov cocktail
Yeah,
to
that's
throw
right.
out of his cab to break these people off in his awesome cab, playing like swing music, like
Yep.
da 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 da.
Like if you just turned off that chase music, they'd stop.
That is like the New York version of chase music to what like banjos is to like a country chase. When you think about it.
So to illustrate how badass Plissken is, as soon as Cabby has rescued him, which Cabby clearly did, Plissken then puts a gun to Cabby's throat and
To show how
says,
much he appreciates him.
"Take me to Brain." Is that where? Or to the Duke? He wants to go to the Duke.
No, he doesn't know the dude. He says,
Well,
take me where
yeah,
the
he-
president
The
is.
president is. Take me to where the president is. He's like, the Duke's got the president. Everyone knows that. The
Everyone
Duke's
knows
got
that?
the president. That's what
He's
Cabby
like, well,
says.
take me to the Duke. He goes, oh, you can't just go to the Duke.
Yeah.
You got to be introduced to the Duke. And is this where he's like, well, I'll take you to Brain. We'll figure it out. Right?
Well, no. I think he brings up the brain. He's just like, you want to see the brain? Why don't you just tell me you want to see the brain? I know everybody. I know the brain. I know where the brain is. Why don't you just tell me that you don't want to see the brain? And then he takes him to the brain.
Okay. And Brain and
The brain is just the worst.
the worst dude ever.
Yep.
The worst.
He lives in the New York Public Library, like the one from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the one
That one.
from Ghostbusters.
It's haunted. Kept
It's-
saying, why is he standing there? It's haunted.
You know,
Makes
that's
no
a trend in
sense.
the John Carpenter movies. Like, and this one has the library from Ghostbusters, and They Live has the fucking thing.
It has the PKE meter that
The
they're using
PKE
wrong.
meter.
Well, they're using it like a rate. Don't get me
Is there
started,
a
man.
Ghostbusters reference in every John Carpenter movie? That's homework for all of you.
Which is
listening at
weird
home.
because John Carpenter was making movies before Ghostbusters was real, as was this movie.
So does John Carpenter not only have a time traveling machine?
You know what? I like to believe, deep down in my heart, that that's not true.
You can also believe it deep down in your mind. That is also not true.
So he takes him to the Brain in the library, and he bangs on the giant door, and who else answers the door but Maggie? That's right. You're all going to see the Brain. Here's Maggie.
Here's Maggie. She's a character.
She's a character. She's the main squeeze of the brain and kind of the muscle for the brain. Because the brain's kind of just, he's a thinker. He tells everybody what to do. But Maggie's like
She's
good
a
with
shot,
a pistol. She's a
Yeah,
good
she's
shot.
She's a woman of action.
She's one of action.
except for in the last scene, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Brain has the spine of a slinky.
Yeah, dude.
He
yeah.
goes
he's
whichever which
ridiculous.
way it's gonna go.
Pretty much.
Whoa,
yeah.
that was good.
That was a good one.
That's a good
Wow,
one.
spine of a
Props.
slinky goes whichever way it's gonna go. Wow,
Oh, man.
that was a really good way to sum up that character. That's
And-
why I
and-
hated him so much.
And also Maggie is, I feel like, mostly she's just there because she's married to the director.
I argue that she has some good moments and serves a purpose a little bit.
But would you say that that actress is a good actress?
I like Agent Barbeau and things. I don't think she's like
do you
award-winning.
think that they could have got somebody better to play that role?
I totally think that she was smoking.
I feel like the role of Maggie.
I
was,
mean, like she
direct and
she was rocking her assets for the entire film, and John Carpenter knew what he was doing with every shot that she was in. Like we would all agree to that. But in terms of like acting prowess, you don't think there's like anyone better who could have played that role potentially?
I
That
don't
wasn't
know.
married to the director. That wasn't married to the person that was at the director's chair for the movie.
I think she's a natural talent. I mean, she's a national treasure and a natural talent. And John Carpenter was lucky to be able to contract her. For
She
that
was
movie.
Novel.
And I think all of you, I think
knew
all
her
of you would.
personally. I didn't even know that.
I think all of you but Grace are a bunch of sellouts.
so the brain. So Snake meets the brain. Turns out Snake knows the brain. The brain, played by Harry Dean Stanton, who's awesome in a lot of stuff. And this one, the brain's kind of like a snarling little shit.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because
He's
Plissken goes right up to him and says, "All right, Brain, what are we doing tonight?" And the Brain says, "Same thing we do every
You
night,
get the hell out
Plissken.
of here.
We're gonna try and take over the world."
Basically.
How long have you been working on that?
That like literally just came to me.
Wow,
I
it
don't know.
shows.
So happy.
Okay,
so
so
I blame the room then.
Plissken
so the
and
brain is
the
actually
brain.
someone that Plissken knows. He goes, "Hello, Harold." They know each other, and they know each other from Kansas City because they had a job in Kansas City, and the brain took off
The brain left him high and dry.
high and dry. And
You don't even want to see.
what happened to Fresno Bob?
Oof.
They have no clue, and that's all the movie gets into about it, and that's it.
Leads to
That's
our
it. They never bring it
imagination.
up again, ever.
I mean, Fresno Bob was never the same after that incident at the Super Bowl.
Nope.
But
The one the president won. That Super Bowl.
I mean, I think it might have been.
well, anyhow, is this when he convinces Brain, "Hey, we need to go like get the you need to take me to the president right now, and I can get you out of here." Is that kind of like the vibe he gives him? Like, we can get out of New York if you help me, or
Yeah, it kind of like heavily implies, and
If
I
you
think he's-
scratch my back,
yeah.
I won't kill you.
Yeah, that's Snake Plissken's whole thing. If you help me, you'll stay alive for a while.
well, a little bit longer at least. So
Hey, I said that I wouldn't kill you. You might die in the process of what we're doing, but I won't kill
do you
you.
hear what I'm trying to do? It's fucking insane. I have explosives in my neck.
Why are any of us doing any of this? I don't know. It's the 90s. None of us really know what we're doing.
As thought of in the 80s.
Have you heard Third Eye Blind? None of us really fucking get it right now.
You know, the main thing about prison, New York City in 1997 is a few things. 1, no power. 1, no leaving the island. 3, just the right amount of torturous Third Eye Blind music is shipped in for them to be forced to listen to.
Because this movie could not foresee the Backstreet Boys, but they did foresee Third Eye Blind. They
we all
saw
s-
that coming.
We all saw it coming a little bit.
Well, you just wish you would step back from that ledge, my
I
friend.
mean, musically speaking, we got what we deserved.
Yep.
That was exactly what we deserved.
So what happened next? Does the brain doesn't take it? Does the brain take him right to the Duke, like right away? Is this the
Yeah,
first
man.
Duke scene?
I think it might have been super easy, barely an inconvenience. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
I feel like he tries to bring him to the Duke, and they're at a train, right?
Well, the Duke's not there yet, and so they're like, "Oh yeah, well the Duke told us to stop by, so we're gonna wait inside." It's like, well, maybe we all ought to wait outside. Well, maybe we ought to wait inside. Except maybe we'll wait outside.
All the while, Snake
Don't you see the Duke's
is,
car first, though? Before you talk to Duke.
Well,
Can we talk about the Duke's car?
It's like a convoy.
It's like a convoy with a Duke's car
Oh,
is
man.
out front. This car's crazy.
Duke's car is
So
Like
it's
is
like
pretty.
like Biggie would be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got it's the Duke and his boys.
Just and he
like-
and just rolls up
In a, I want to say a Pontiac.
in force.
Is this car a Pontiac?
There's chandeliers.
I just
on the
noticed the
grill.
chandeliers.
Chandeliers on the car.
He's got a mirror ball hanging from the rear view.
And
So you can
hydroponic
see.
action on the car also.
Yeah,
It's just loud in every single kind of way.
yeah. There's like no muffler.
But it's like, you know who the Duke is, who's played by Isaac Hayes.
Yep. Oh yeah. Solid role for Isaac Hayes. He was a good actor. Like
Chef
everyone,
himself.
everyone like kind of thinks of just like he only ever did Chef, but he acted a bit and he's really good and stuff. And he's solid in this.
He does a good role.
Yeah.
He's also a sneeze, father of Achu.
You better go or you'll miss the tide.
Never
That's
forget.
who he is.
That's what it is. I forgot about that.
Bless you.
Bless us all, everyone. This Christmas.
Next time on Movie Night Autopsy, we will not be talking about Robin Hood Men in
Because
Tights.
we all watched it.
We've all seen it, and we don't need to talk anymore about that movie.
So they show up. They don't pull off stealing the president very well. Plissken gets caught. So does the brain and Maggie.
everybody gets caught.
Everybody
They
but
just-
Cabby, because Cabby took off.
Yeah, because he was smart. He saw that this was a terrible idea and
And
he
he-
should get out of there.
He
Also,
knew.
he has to be around later for exposition.
Exactly. He knew he was going to have to save their butts later.
I'll just show up in about 10 hours. Right when they need me.
I'll just wait for the next plot beat in the script.
So they get there. The Duke catches them all. And
They're not
is this-
Pokemon, dude. Like, calm down.
No, we.
But he had to catch them all.
And yeah, that's actually they are, because he catches Snake Plissken and
Okay, a
makes
little
him
bit.
fight another one of the
Oh,
people
that's
he's
right.
captured.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Freaking
Oh, it's such a good
Goliath.
thing. Oh yeah, Goliath.
Oh, and by
Goliath
the way, like leading up to this moment is where Snake Plissken because he's trying to rescue the president. He gets to the president. He catches one of the leg. And this is about an hour into the movie, and for the rest of the movie, he's just got a fucking arrow in his leg.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's limping the whole rest of the movie.
because of the arrow.
And like homemade crossbows. So everyone's got like homemade crossbows because they can't get guns.
So like they get captured.
Uh-huh.
The brain is captured, but he's able to like talk his way out of dying immediately because he's just like, oh well, he had a gun on me. What was I gonna do? It's like, I don't know, be a fucking man or something. But
No, I'm a slinky.
Obviously, you can tell I'm
and
a
you can
slinky.
tell that the Duke is also not happy, even with the idea of a gun being on him. He's not cool with the fact that the brain did this, because it's the Duke, and you never cross the
You
Duke.
don't cross the Duke.
You
He's
just
day
don't
number
cross
one.
the Duke.
you don't. But so they all get captured, and the president gets captured again. And then we see
God, this guy gets
Plissken
captured more than Peach.
more than Peach.
It's ridiculous.
If only Mario were there, this whole problem would.
I would
be
watch
worse.
Mario Escapes from New York.
Mario. Is,
Imagine all the things he can jump off of.
Especially if it co-starred John Leguizamo.
How dare
what I'm
you.
trying to say is, you would play Mario Escapes from New York. You would not
if it-
enjoy watching.
Isn't that what Mario Odyssey
Escapes
was?
from
And
New
if it involved King Koopa,
How dare
you started this, sir.
York. Ugh.
And I'm
in a-
gonna finish it by just like plowing forward
in a healthy way.
because that's all that you can do in this kind of time. So like he's being marched out to in some kind of like weird looking fighting arena where it's like there are ropes like a boxing or wrestling ring. There's also like pieces of like a wire fence like welded to it. And he's going in there. He's got a trash can lid for a shield and a Charlie Kelly like rat stick for a bat.
Well, they
They start with bats.
To be fair, they both have the same weapons to start with.
It's just regular bats.
Well, yeah,
to
the
begin
bats.
with.
And then they get the spiked bat.
And then they
Yeah.
get the spiked bat, the
It's like
nails
halfway
sticking out.
through,
Of
they're
that.
like
Charlie
up the,
Kelly rat
up,
sticks.
up the odds.
Up the odds because we're just like we're bored. Throw
One
a
of you needs
spiked
to
bat in
die
there.
faster.
There's not enough skin in the game. We need more of that.
The guy he's fighting, as Grace pointed out, is huge. He's a Goliath. He's a massive dude
Oh, yeah.
when he's walking to the ring, they're bringing someone
He's
on
like-
a stretcher who's obviously dead.
He's
and
like
bloodied.
he's like Blaster without Master.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good reference, man. He's like twice as big as Kurt Russell, and Kurt Russell's not a tiny dude.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I mean, like
I
he's
mean-
not like a giant dude, but he's not a small dude.
No,
either.
he's not a small dude.
Exactly. He's especially this era of Kurt Russell. So like
Pete Kurt Russell.
This
Yeah.
is pretty Pete Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
So they have a great fight scene, and at first the guy's pretty much Plissken is dealing with him, but he's got a wounded leg.
He's holding
the
his
guy's
own
a
the
lot
best he
bigger
can.
than him, so he's basically just kind of holding it up.
He's spending a lot of time on the defensive.
Yeah, he's not trying to actually get this guy at all.
He's
It's
just
when
trying
they-
to not get hit.
It's when they switch over to the trash can shield and the fucking Charlie bat that they're like we're gonna up this ante a little bit because it is up now and they both have the same weapon, so the big guy also has a spiked bat that he's swinging at him.
And then after a couple of swings, like he catches the fucking shield, gets that away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because Snake lost his shield, the Goliath guy.
Well, he's got him cornered.
He's got him
down.
cornered. Well, there's that crazy thing where the two bats get interlocked for a second,
But that's
and the
after
guy
He throws him.
The
yeah.
guy throws him, and Snake rolls,
So he's got
like,
him down.
he's got him
that's where
down.
He wants him. So he throws his shield to the side.
and he goes.
Thinks he's
way
got him,
up.
but he's never encountered Snake Plissken.
Snake plays dirty. Snake goes straight for the gut and stuffs the guy in his
Straight
tracks,
for the gut.
and then immediately
Clocks him right in the goddamn brainstem.
Right in the back of the head.
fucking head,
With a nail in the bat.
and the
Pow.
dude just kind of takes it, stands there for a second,
Falls forward right
Oh,
into the ropes.
over the rope, and just stays there, and everyone starts going, Snake,
Snake. Snake. Snake.
The Duke's
Snake.
champion has fallen. All hail Snake.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all these dudes around him have little pieces of things that he used to have. So he takes back from Goliath his timer watch.
Yeah.
And one of the guys who brings him into the arena place, he has the tracker
Yeah.
thing that he immediately presses.
Yeah, and that's what signifies he's still alive to the people over at Liberty Island, because they've been in the dark for like 15 hours at this point.
Because his
going on with you,
walkie-talkie
man?
broke. in the early scenes.
What's up with the man?
Meanwhile, the brain concocts a plan to get the president, and the plan involves of going in there and killing people. You thought the brain would have a smarter plan than that, but it seems to work, so it's just the right amount of thought.
It mainly works because Maggie's a badass and can shoot 3 people in about 1 second.
With a revolver.
With a revolver.
A hammerback gun.
A revolver with a scope on it that she doesn't use,
Ever.
mind you.
Well, nobody would. Yeah. But like he goes in, he's like, the Duke wants me to, he talks to the crazy guy, the crazy David Bowie guy. And he's just like,
Oh yeah, that's Romero.
Romero.
Frank
Really?
Frank Doubleday, as it turns out.
It's he named the character Romero.
Romero.
Of course he did. Good
Yeah.
homage. Very nice.
He is like a video game character.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So he goes in there and he's just like, Duke wants the president. He goes, Duke didn't tell me nothing, brain. And so he's there and he's like looking at it. He's like, oh no, what it was is like, he's like, Duke thinks he may have a cyanide pill hidden somewhere in his clothes. I got to look for it. And the guy doesn't believe. He goes, Brain, what's all this about? And as he's like walking towards the brain pulls out a knife and stabs the guy. And that's when Maggie takes out these 3 dudes like crazy.
Pow, pow, pow.
Yeah, pow, pow, pow.
They just go down.
Just sitting there, and then they have the president now, and they have the president convening at the same time that Snake just got loose, and everyone knows there's a glider at the top of the World Trade Center, so they're trying to take off. Brain and Maggie are trying to take off with the president,
Without Snake.
Without
they don't, They
Snake.
don't care about
At the
Snake at
glider.
this point.
and Snake catches up with them to the top of the World Trade Center, where there's a crazy shootout going on. Maggie and crowd can't like get closer to the glider.
And Roddy Piper just got like screwed over again.
And so he's shooting a satellite dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's-
Meanwhile,
he's
the
trying to put- he's
Highlanders
trying to-
having a fight off to the side.
And why was fucking Sean Connery, like, who is clearly Scottish, like, there's no way he's from. No,
Yeah. Okay.
getting off topic.
They
yeah,
throw,
yeah.
but anyhow, the rival gang that they're having a fight with throws the glider off the World Trade Center and it plummets to its destruction. So they immediately have to start thinking, okay, a new plan. We can't get out of New York on the glider anymore. We got to get down from the World Trade Center and we got to find another way.
They reteam back up. They go to the Brain's car that's down there, and they get in. It won't start. They're like, open the hood, see what's up, and a dude pops out holding that crossbow on Snake.
Oh, yeah.
And the Duke is like off in the distance, and he's like, car trouble? Like, oh, you son of a bitch. And Duke's got all his people, and they're like, give me the president. They're like, no. And I think they just run, right? They run away.
Do they? How
like
do
a-
they?
there's like a
how do they get?
distraction or
How do they
something.
get away from the Duke at this point? Cabby saves them.
That's when the cabbie shows up.
Cabby saves them, but something happens that I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
There's somehow a diversion or a distraction that goes on. So
Brain pulls something out.
yeah, I'm not sure. Plissken, I'm not sure, but something happens and they are able to get out of there. But then they're running from the Duke at this point. They're running for the hills. They're like, all right, let's get out of here. We got to get to the walls, and if we get to the walls, we can contact the people on the other side, and they can get us out of here.
Meanwhile, Snake is at like, what, 20 minutes on his timer?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
No, by the way, none of the people he's rolling with, he's never told a single one of them, hey, by the way, in like 20 minutes, my neck's going to blow up and I'm going to die. That's why I'm rushing through everything
Yeah,
right
but he
now.
won't stop telling him, get the president, get the president.
Yeah. I mean, like, he doesn't have to tell everyone his life story.
They already know it, except for the part where he's still alive.
Yeah, I mean, just most of them think that he's already dead.
Already dead. So they get in the cab with Cabby. Snake says, I'll drive because it's the climax of the movie. And let me see. It's everyone in the car. Brain has a map of the 69th Street Bridge.
The mines.
Feeling
The mine,
groovy.
yeah. The mine map. There's mines on the 69th Street Bridge. They're going to take it, but there's a bunch of mines. So Brain's going to tell him where to drive. And the Duke is coming after him in his car. So you got Cabby's cab taking off down the bridge, which is full of
Chandeliers
other...
McGee.
Yeah, and Chandler's McGee following suit. There's cars everywhere. The only way to get on a bridge is actually they built like a Deuce of Hazzard dirt mount to like jump onto the bridge.
How are the boys going to get out of this one?
They just take off and just driving. He's like, and Brain's like trying to tell him how to
Duke's
drive.
really got him cornered this time.
He did.
The Duke of New York. Yeah, no, that's
Hey,
why they
number
did
one.
that. Now I get it. It's the Duke of New York as opposed to, okay, that's why they did that.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Okay. It's taken me 10 years to realize that. I'm fine with it.
So he's chasing them down the bridge, and they're trying to avoid mines, but the Brain kind of sucks at reading the map because he's the worst.
Brain is the worst. I
like-
love the actor.
No, but Brain is the worst.
Brain's
like-
the worst.
Hurts.
Like the one thing he's supposed to be able to do is read the map, and he's not able to do it right, and that's why I think they blow the car at some point. And
Yeah.
it blows in half.
Obviously, this blue part here is the land.
I think
And
he's
what all
the
this people is obviously the sea.
ultimate wild card,
Yeah.
right? Like ultimate wild
I would agree
card.
with that because he's not a wild card because you learn to.
You don't know
Mr.
whose
X.
side he's on.
Yeah.
He's not really on anybody's side. He's on the side of survival. And
It's
just
him and Maggie. He sticks by Maggie because Maggie sticks by him.
As far as we know.
And that's the only allegiance we know he has.
But Maggie, like as a character, at least has like a moral.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Like
like,
guideline,
so
you know?
often she's like, Braid, you can't let him do this. And then eventually Brain does the right thing after Maggie like gets onto him about it. But the Brain can go either way. But they're driving down the bridge and they run over a mine and it cuts the car in half.
as mines do.
As mines do.
They famously
it
cut them
cuts the car in
perfectly in
half,
half.
like it was a fucking lightsaber.
Only killing one person.
Yeah, it's split.
Maybe the mine was made out of lightsabers.
A lightsaber mine?
Yeah.
You know,
Can't imagine a worse hell. A lightsaber mine, but it cuts it to where the front seat keeps driving forward and the back seat spirals out. Snake and Cabby are in the front. Cabby's dead. The president,
Yep. So we have no more exposition for the rest of the
Nope,
movie.
but
we
we
gotta
look
piece
to,
it
like,
together ourselves.
the last 10 minutes of the movie. But the back seat's the president, Brain, and Maggie. And they get out, and Brain's like, I said swerve left, you jackass. Like, they throw a joke kind of in there a little bit. It's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, the whole movie's kind of been like that.
Yeah, it's kind of been like that. And then Brain's like, guys, go left. And he steps on a mine.
as
which
he's
is-
going the direction they're not going.
They're not going in. As earlier where we had a mine full of lightsabers, it looked like this was a mine of tiny little trampolines because Brain goes flying in the air like 20
His
feet.
body doesn't like break apart or anything. It just
Like a
goes
mine
flying
would.
in the air
Yeah.
and then falls on the trunk of a car. And that mine, which was not placed there by the Duke of New York, that mine was actually placed there by
Okay, number one.
the United States Police Force.
police and army at this point. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
pretty much.
they're also encamped around the city of New York.
Oh yeah, there's like a whole sequence where they land.
Yeah.
Like inside Manhattan that we haven't
Exactly.
to,
haven't touched on.
Get info and like, well, it's like they're like control of New York, but you can tell they never go into New York because, dear God, even they're
Oh, yeah,
freaked
well,
out by it.
Wouldn't you be?
They would have to send so much force into there just to be like, hey, what are you doing?
Because I always felt like whatever
Stop it.
whatever made New York like a prison, I imagine that they didn't just straight up like say one day, all right, New
Have you
York's a
seen the
prison now."
prices at Macy's?
Yeah, but I don't think they ever. In my mind, the history works that crime was so bad they made New York a prison. So either they got everyone out, or the crime was so bad they roped it off.
I would imagine they probably just they probably gave a certain designation of when roping it off was going to happen, and at that point,
A
it's
lot
up
of
to
people
you
left.
to get the fuck out.
Yeah,
and
and
if
a
you
lot-
can't get the fuck out, sorry about you.
Yeah, like I don't believe that Cabby was a criminal sent to New York City. I believe
Yeah.
Cabby's a cabbie because he grew up in
The
New York.
walls went up, and he was still there.
Yeah, he's been a cabbie for 30 years. That's what
30
he kept
years.
saying. He's like, I've
Yep.
been driving these streets, this neighborhood for 30 years.
He's probably just was stuck.
1967.
Was stuck or didn't want to leave. You know,
Yeah.
there's people who don't leave during hurricanes. You know, so I think it's that.
Yeah,
So,
around
what was
here
my
we call them
tangent?
Floridians.
Neighbors, friends, and family.
That was John's favorite joke. John's kind of losing it at the board. I had a point to that.
Well,
Don't
anyhow,
realize-
Brain falls on a car, and this is the point where Maggie is
snaps.
so upset that Brain died because she obviously really loved him. That's sincerity. That's not sarcasm. But she decides to take all of her rage out on the Duke of New York,
who's still chasing them in
who's
the
still
Cadillac,
chasing them in a car, and she
Cadillac
pulls out.
chandelier.
She pulls out her 6-shooter, and you're like, "Oh man, she's totally gonna shoot him through the head while he's driving towards her. It's gonna be fucking badass."
Because she just killed 3 guys
She
in
killed
1
3
second.
guys.
Faster than like what a revolver speed
There's
shoots
no
at.
way she's not gonna
But-
make this shot and get run over like a little.
But then the movie subverts your expectations as she doesn't make the shot, and
At
then
all.
she does get run over.
She
And
just
she
gets,
gets-
run the fuck
And
over.
you know what? I applaud the movie for its brave directorial directions that it decides to go in and subverting those expectations, because
Yeah.
that's what you think's going to happen based on the credible evidence that you're giving, based on the earlier parts of the movie, and it just turns those ideas on their head. Bravo.
Good point.
That's all that has to be said about that. Tune in next week for Moving on Autopsy. John.
Yeah,
Those-
somebody please just go
yeah,
on now.
no. So Maggie's dead as shit.
She's dead. The Duke's car is wasted though.
So
He
he's
gets
got to
out of
run
the
on
car.
foot. He's got Snake's gun. He took Snake's gun early on, and he's chasing after them. By the point Snake and the president have reached a wall, the police force has like a rope going over the side, and they pull the president up first because he's the president, and the president's all fucked up at this point.
So they
Like,
have a precedent to save the president.
Don't you do that? Don't you do that?
Chad is presiding over this podcast, so he will appreciate it if you don't do that.
You and your wordplay, sir.
Anyhow, so they're lowering the jock strap that will raise them up to the wall.
It's one of those power weight things.
Yeah.
It's like you don't lift it with a bar, you lift it with a giant like I don't know, strap that's been sewn over 30 times so it won't break, like you pull up on. And they got the president up there. The Duke is close. The Duke takes out like 2 guards on the wall. That's like the first like prisoner to kill like
Yeah, some of the
guards in probably years for them. And Snake gets up there. He starts going up. There's a close-up shot of the lever switch that turns the retractor off.
Don't do it, Ringo.
And-
I can't help it. I'm a natural lever puller.
And so Snake's just sitting on the wall, and there's a fist fight between Snake and the Duke. Actually, that's what it is. They fight. Snake kicks Duke's ass for a second, gets up, goes up. Lever puller gets turned off. The Duke goes to pull off a couple.
For seemingly no reason.
It serves no
honestly.
purpose other than to extend the ticking clock, which is like 2 minutes at this point.
Yeah, he's
For
about
Snake,
to die.
he's got 2 minutes to live, and the Duke goes to shoot him off, and you just hear gunshots, and the president of the United States of America is grabbing like this firearm and just laying waste to the Duke. Just
Oh,
you're
it's,
the Duke.
It's a full automatic.
Yeah, it's just like
it's a full
I don't know what it was.
It's a full automatic rifle. I don't know what the model is.
Military grade rifle. Yeah, and he just lays into them like you're the Duke. I ain't number one. He's like yelling at him, kind of losing it.
Oh, yeah.
I ain't number one.
Oh yeah, you're a number one. You're
You're
a
a
number
number one.
one.
Yeah, you're the
Because
Duke.
here's the thing
You're
about
the
the
Duke.
Duke. Because we mentioned that it was played by Isaac Hayes, but here's the thing about the Duke. He was a bad fucking dude.
Shut your mouth.
Nobody crosses the Duke.
He was a.
Everybody knows that, Sam.
I'm just talking about the Duke,
I can dig it.
but no, he was a bad dude. Like
He's
like,
crazy.
He
not
was
only-
torturing the president.
Not only
earlier in the
did
movie.
yeah, but that's the thing. Not only did he rule the streets of Manhattan with an iron fist, but like whenever he had control of the president, he wasn't the guy who was like he wasn't a sympathetic villain. He wasn't somebody who had an agenda that we could get behind because he was wronged in the past. Like no, he was a fucking just bad guy who was on the streets with a bunch of other bad guys, and he's the one who rose to the top of all the bad
Because
guys.
he's the baddest.
And now he's got the leverage of the president, so I'm going to do with that as I please. And I'm going to do things like chain him up to the wall and have him tell me what my name is while I fire this automatic rifle at him. Mm-hmm. And
Trying to knock that suitcase out of his hand.
and that's also when they got the suitcase opened. And another thing we haven't mentioned yet is the tape that is in the suitcase.
Yes.
the tape, some kind of like chemistry breakdown of something.
Tritium it's like a new element they found that helps
Oh, yeah,
nuclear
yes.
fusion, and that's
Yeah.
what fix a lot of the world's
I
problems.
believe that is the element MacGuffin.
The element MacGuffin is a thing on the MacGuffin that has to
MacGuffinium.
be told to the people at the MacGuffin before the MacGuffin is over.
It has to be MacGuffined to its full MacGuffin before it can MacGuffin the MacGuffins.
Is MacGuffin cubed?
And then we can MacGuffin our MacGuffins.
Yes.
So if you look down
To
at the
achieve
bottom row
maximum
of the
MacGuffin.
periodic table in the lactides, you will find the MacGuffin element.
Because as far as I know, that's what was on the tape.
It
Yep.
comes from scientists fusing together lots of ideas and realizing that they need something to linchpin all the insanity together. And they're like, why come up with something reasonable when we could just make some shit up?
I buy that logic.
Hence the MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin element.
So that's the tape. It explains
They
some
have to play
bizarre
it.
new element.
There's this peace
just-
summit.
It's a magic box of a tape.
Yeah, and there's this peace summit between the United States and the Soviet Union. Hey, movie, why don't you date yourself a little? And China,
Don't worry, there's no tension anymore.
no,
between-
none whatsoever. None of that to worry about.
Yeah.
Thank God the Cold War's over.
Anyhow.
Yeah, and that's the time that's in turn with Snake's electrodes or whatever in his neck. You gotta get the president and that tape back. I need that tape. So after the president takes out the Duke, he turns the thing back on for Snake, so Snake can get over the damn wall and be saved. He comes down. He stumbles over to the scientist. The scientist is about to neutralize the thing in his neck.
It's the scientist lackey. It's the guy who was sympathizing with
Yeah, the
Snake
guy
in
who
the first
felt
place,
bad.
who was like, you need to tell him what we just did to
Yeah,
him.
it's that guy has like these like things that like can be like
X-rays. He says X-rays.
It's
in the
X-rays
beginning
that
of the
like
movie. That's
somehow
whatever.
disarm the discharge in some way, and he's about to do it to Snake's neck, and Lee Van Cleef moves him and goes, "Give me the tape, Plissken. Give me the tape." And Plissken pulls a tape out of his front pocket and hands it to him.
Oh, was it his front pocket? I thought it was his ass. But anyways.
No, the tape he handed Lee Van Cleef was from his front pocket. Trust me, it
His
pays off
front
later.
ass pocket.
His front pocket. It pays off later. And they do it, and Snake looks at the clock in classic Hollywood movie fashion. 2, 1. He stopped with 2 seconds left.
Yep.
It's
That's
crazy.
when they get it all shut off.
That's when they get all shut off. And
Apparently
the president's safe, and a lot of people are dead.
Apparently his
A
neck
lot of
doesn't
people.
blow off.
And it's not, this time.
They take him over to the president.
But he does get a job offer out of it. Oh, but no, but you're right.
They
That
take him
happens
over to the
first.
president. Remember? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I remember. And he asks him, he's like, I just want a moment of your time. And president says, okay, you can have anything. You just saved my life.
And that's while he's like sitting down in the chair. They're putting makeup on his black eye. They're
They're
getting him
shaving
all
his face.
freshly
They're
shaven.
cleaning him up.
Because he needs to go on TV to the summit.
He's
and
got
explain.
2.5 minutes.
He's got 2.5 minutes. He's gonna play the tape and present this like peace offering to the
Well,
world.
that's his ace in the hole.
Yep.
And it's just so horrible because like he told him, a lot of people died in order for us to save you. What do you have to say about that? And at that moment, the president is looking at a mirror at himself, seeing how he looks like before he's about to address something
Missing a finger still.
on TV. Yeah. But that's the cool thing. I thought that he had switched the tapes after this moment because he was like, the president is just like in his own world and doesn't care. But I realized the moment he gets off, yes, he just gives it to
Yeah,
Van Cleef.
he hands the tape to the front. His tape from his.
from
He
his
hands Lee Van
front.
Cleef his front tape pocket.
In the back pocket is the real tape.
Yes. So when the president
MacGuffin.
when the president hands Snake some bullshit line about how everyone who helped him was a patriot and this country appreciates it, and Snake walks off into the distance, the president gets on TV and plays the tape that Snake handed Lee Van Cleef.
And that tape is wonderful music from Cabby.
It was Cabby's swing tape.
Yeah.
That he loved.
It was like Cabby's Justice.
Yeah. So
Justice for Cabby.
So as
Justice for Cabby.
Justice for
Cabby.
Hashtag Justice for Cabby. So Snake walks away. He pulls the tape out of his back pocket. That's the tritium important tape, and he just rips it up.
Rips it up, destroys it.
Breaks it.
While smoking a cigarette. He smokes a lot of cigarettes in this movie.
He's got a lot going on.
He's very healthy for.
He's probably just tenaciousness and a lot of adrenaline.
Yeah, that's the Plissken we know.
And he tears up the tape. He turns down the job working for Lee Van Cleef to kind of keep doing what he's doing, and he walks off into the darkness.
Whatever that is.
And credits roll.
Oh man, he is so unagreeable though in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
when
yeah.
Van Cleef is like, "Will you do this, Plissken?" And he's like, "I go by Snake." And at the end, he's like, "So we'd be one hell of a team, Snake." And he's like,
"That's Plissken."
"That's Plissken."
Oh, I love that scene
Big
when
fat
he's like
no.
walking out before they realize he did the old switcheroo. Like if Lee Van Cleef is smoking a cigarette, and he goes, "Earlier, Snake said, I'm going to kill you when this is all over." And afterwards, he goes, "All right, Snake, you going to kill me?" And Plissken just goes, "I'm too tired." You never heard of like an action star be like, in the morning. In the morning.
I'm too tired.
Maybe later. Let me load.
Maybe later. But I can also imagine just like in true Smokey and the Bandit fashion. I can see like Lee Van Cleef like
Bro,
as
good
that,
fight there.
as that swing music is playing. It's just like, God damn it, Bandit. God, get boy, that boy go with the beauty justice.
Dad, it's the wrong tape.
Boy, when I get home, I'm gonna slap your mama in the mouth. Quoting the movie.
Quoting the movie.
Because there's no way you came from my loins.
That's a
Quoting the movie.
quoting the movie.
Of course.
Quoting the movie.
Walking off into the distance now, and that's just how the movie ends.
Yeah, it's just like he helped the president, but he doesn't do it for. They still don't accomplish their goal.
It's true to like.
And he just did it to be free. That's the only reason
Yeah.
Plissken did it. And he had no choice, really.
I mean, like honestly, I feel like this kind of thing is what inspires a lot of video games. This whole movie is like it plays out. Like we made the joke earlier about the similarities, but there are a lot of similarities.
Isn't
to
Metal
video
Gear
games.
Solid based on this a lot?
I would definitely
actually,
believe that.
Yeah,
Snake
Plissken is Solid Snake, and
Yeah,
I would.
They call him Snake in the goddamn game.
And that's this movie. I could totally when I think of the Metal Gear Solid games, I would picture Kurt Russell's portrayal of Snake Plissken as Solid Snake, because it's just like this badass who's been in the military. He knows what to do, but he's not really with the military because he's been betrayed. And he's kind of a rogue agent now.
And he's
Like
doing this
Rambo.
job because he's been blackmailed into it.
Yep, and he's got an eye patch. Very important.
And he's got an eye patch.
I feel like that's the kicker.
And then once everything
those
is
two.
all done, he just walks off into the sunset like Mad Max. But that's a whole nother kind of discussion. Is the similarities?
So this movie's crazy.
And his hair is so rustled.
Yeah, it's
Fabulous rustled hair.
his hair is rustled. His Kurt is rustled. His Snake is I thought you were dead. Could go on all night.
I love this movie a lot. I love the look of the movie. I love that it was mostly shot on location in East St. Louis, Illinois. They had a fire.
And there's a good amount of models involved.
There is a good amount of models
There's a good
involved.
amount of models.
But East St. Louis had a fire in the late 70s, and a lot of downtown just looked like that. And the city let the production film there. The only shot that's in New York is actually the Statue of Liberty.
we
shot-
didn't start the fire.
Don't you?
Oh, don't come on!
I can't kick you out of your own house, dude.
But we're gonna
Really
try
want
if you
to.
keep this up.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing my boundaries.
But-
I got to see where that line is.
So this is like oh god, it's just everything you love about Carpenter, without overdoing it. Not that you can do too much Carpenter, but
They Live gets awfully close, but honestly, I
the-
respect They Live more for getting closer to it.
But also I love The Thing, but The Thing is so crazy. I can only watch it every now and then.
Yeah, like
It messes with you bad.
The thing is also just I'm a little bit different than you guys. I feel like The Thing is my favorite Carpenter movie, but I also agree with what Chad says. I can watch Escape from New York and They Live a lot more often. And it's really hard. Between those 3 films, I love them all so much, and they all do very different things.
They do.
They all do. Like, They Live's concept is so original and so forward and so ahead of its time. It's just like,
oh yeah,
I can't really compare it to Escape from New York. Well, I can, but it's hard to compare it to Escape from New York, which is more like this badass, like you said, video game-esque action movie before we had the typical protagonist from all action movies that came from the 80s and 90s. You know, it's one of the proto-protagonists.
I feel like Escape from New York has one thing about it that other Carpenter movies, mainly the main 2 we just referenced, are different. They're still Carpenter, and even though the movie's bleak and kind of has a happy ending, but kind of on like this like jaded protagonist term.
Well, yeah, like just because it ends on his terms.
Yeah, it ends on his term, and it's just crazy, absurd things happening. It's a fun movie.
Oh yeah, you have
it's
a good
so much
time
fun
on this
to
movie.
watch. It's not a romp, but it is kind of a road movie in a weird way. They're constantly on the move. So I dig it. I hope you guys dig it. Let us know what you think on the social medias. Hit us up on the comments. Subscribe to the YouTubes and the YouTubes. Escape from New York. This was crazy. Not as crazy as the next one's going to be. That one's going to be insane. Tune in for that one. But for this week's
podcast to end all podcasts.
it may be our last one. I think we're working up to it. No, not really.
No, we'll keep
doing
going.
it. Yeah, we keep going.
We're going to keep grinding.
Yeah, it's really good. For this week's Movie Night Autopsy, I'm Chad.
I'm Sam.
I'm Grace.
I'm Asher.
Thank you for listening.
What's up, crew? If you got any idea of what you would like for us to talk about on the Minute or on Movie Night Autopsy podcast, hit us up on the social medias. You can hit us up on Twitter at movie_autopsy. Check us out on Facebook at Movie Night Autopsy. Always feel free to email us, contact@movienightautopsy.com.